First mate Great Beard Kesha likes it here with the weather forecast. Today's weather is stuff you're used to in ways you've never seen before. It may be scary, but it could be beautiful. I'm gonna try and prepare you for it, but I could be wrong, so bring a jacket. I had a little fire in my backyard. I forgot that it rained. It was really smoky and I didn't mind it, but I thought my neighbors might, so I put it out. I didn't put it out properly, though. It was not a night of proper fire safety on this vessel. I didn't use any water or anything, because everything was so wet I figured it would dry out, but not catch back on fire. That made it really smoky, but I knew that would happen. I like campfire smell, and I figured even if I couldn't have a good fire, I could smell like one. There are a lot of different wood smells, but campfire smell is campfire smell. Why is that? People smoke meats and cheeses with apple wood, or grape, or hickory, or mesquite. All of those are woods. When people say hickory or mesquite flavor, they're trying to capture the essence of the smoke, like a perfume for an old lady's neck. Dry rubs are the perfume of steaks. I wouldn't ask anyone how they perfumed their steak for fear of violence, but that's what it is. Perfume is weird. It fades away. My body makes its own perfume, but it doesn't fade, it just gets worse. And it's not the same perfume all over my body. My armpits make better perfume than my feet, but my feet make better perfume than behind my ears. Farts are not perfume. If farts were perfume, people would put their wrist by their butt and sniff it to see if they wanted to wear it to the club. Nobody does that. I could be pretty certain farts aren't perfume, although no one has rubbed their wrist on my armpit, nor do I encourage them to do so. It's got too much friction as it is. Have you ever scratched a pit of some sort, only to find now it's irritated in some way that cannot be solved? This happened most often with the inside of my elbow as a kid. I would get itchy on the inside of my elbow, and I was quite chubby. I would scratch it, and then as I moved my arm, I could not stop feeling the rash. I felt quite foolish. A similar thing happens to my armpits sometimes. It will get itchy, but then I think, oh no, I will only make this worse, so I pull at it. There's a lot of hair there, so I pull that or the skin and just kind of stretch it a bit, hoping that it will alleviate the itch without leaving a rash. Oftentimes when I pet a dog or cat, I wonder if they go through the same thing. They always want their ears scratched to the side of their face, and then I wonder if it leaves a rash, and that's why they never want you to stop. Because the moment you do, the relief is gone, but the irritation is there. I haven't looked this up, but it is often quickly dismissed by people who like to scratch their animals. I try to give them massages these days, and a lot of people say their animals love me. My old boss's dog had anxiety. It's wild to know dogs can have that, but it makes a lot of sense. My boss's boyfriend had a bigger dog, and they looked similar, so the small one would chew its feet till it had little scabs. And then the little one would always be begging for the hard scratches, and I thought, why aren't the massages enough? Is it because of the anxiety? But you can't just ask a dog that. Some people talk to their dogs. Some dogs talk to me. They're not as chatty as horses, though. Most dogs don't say anything, but they bark a lot. There was a dog who kept telling me to get their owner to the island when I wanted to go to Fiji. I gave up on that, so that dog might be disappointed in me. Maybe I was hearing something else at the time. No dog has ever opened up about what it feels like after I scratch them, but get this! Sometimes I have a hair that falls out of my head and into my shirt, and until I get that hair out, I'm very irritated. Other times, something even crazier happens. A hair will get in my pants, and then there's already hair there, but the hair in my pants doesn't like the hair from my head. So it says, hey hands, clean up in aisle pants. We've got a rogue hair here, and I wonder if dogs and cats are the same. When you scratch a dog or a cat, they might have hairs. that have fallen out. And what was once a friend is now an intruder. They don't even need to fall out. My mom removed some trees from her house and said the sap was falling on their cars. It was on the dog too. When I went up there was a little bit ago, the dog was all covered in dirt and sap, and I thought, do I need to give this dog a bath? He can't be happy with all that sap on him. The dog laid down in front of me and gave me a look that said, just scratch me. He didn't say that though. That dog doesn't say much to me, at least. I scratched the sap off and decided not to give him a bath. He didn't say much about that either. He also didn't say much about not bringing the frisbee to the lake, but I did, and I could tell he was upset. He kept bringing me to the place where I would throw it if I had it, but I didn't. And possibly because of this, he didn't want to listen to me at all. And again, he's not saying anything, but he is walking me past the yoga, through picnics, sniffing shoes as if they're frisbees. And again, this isn't my dog. We're cool, but I've seen him grow into a dog I don't recognize. It used to be so easy for us. I'd come up to the mountains and we'd go on these long hikes up the mountain. One time he took me so deep into the woods the trail ended and the telltale knock of a woodpecker echoed off in the distance. I turned my head to see the bird in all its glory and heaped praise upon the dog for such a wonderful lead. Now, he won't even leave the driveway if he's not getting a ride in the car. I get it. If the option is a walk or a walk and a car ride, both every time. But the thing is, he doesn't get in the car, so he wants to get in the car, which means he wants you to help him into the car. And then he wants you to drive him to the lake, and then take a walk, and bring the frisbee. Or he's a pouty pants all day. And then you know what? That's his right as a dog in America. I'm just saying that I want him to be happy for my mom's sake. I don't want her to worry. Frankly, I think he's a little spoiled, but such is life for dogs these days. Which is funny, because most of them are left alone for too long. So they're pampered, but lonely and talked down to. I only feel so comfortable talking down to people because that's how people talk to dogs. And dogs don't talk like that to me, so somebody has to give people a taste of that medicine. You silly poopy faces. Just kidding, I don't think dog medicine works on humans. I've never had to give a cat medicine, but I did have a cat that had a sticky situation like the sap dog. The cat's name was Whiskers because cats have those, not because Whiskers was its occupation. Its occupation was rolling around in the dirt and getting its fur all matted, and then calling me up to the stairs, but not that fast, and then coming back to the stairs so I could find where the fur was matted and cut it out. Now this cat and I didn't always see eye to eye. You're not actually supposed to do that with cats. You do that with threats. If you're staring at something, you typically want to eat it or make it do something. If you're hanging out with a cat, you go, I'm looking over here. You got that over there? And then sometimes they look at you like, do something. It's truly wonderful. When this cat looked at me and meowed a bunch, it meant cut my fur and don't scratch me too hard. This cat was a chatterbox, always talking about how it couldn't believe that it had created the universe and was now trapped in this tiny cat. Either way, it couldn't cut its own fur, and one day, something magical happened. I was petting and scratching Whiskers, and Whiskers was purring. She wanted it on one side, and then the other side, and then the top of her head, and then her chin, and then all over. And after about 5 or 6 minutes of this, she was the happiest kitty I had ever seen. She said, thanks, I'm good, but kept purring for another 5 or 6 minutes, happy as a clam on the stairs. And ever since then, I've wondered if you can pet animals so well they thank you and don't beg for more. I've never had it happen except for that one time. Please don't do drugs around kids.